All right, now to give us more perspective on this, we're being joined by Professor Avi Loeb, who's the director at the Institute for Theory and Computation, Harvard University. Professor Loeb is joining us live from Cambridge in Massachusetts. Now, Professor Loeb, this is something that has fascinated for people across generations and, of course, across continents. But in the United States of America, the conspiracy theories that do the rounds or UFOs and potentially the American government hiding information about aliens from the general public is something which a lot of people in America indeed discuss about. Now, the government has, of course, come and said that there is no evidence whatsoever that the U.S. government is hiding about aliens existing. What is your opinion on this?
Well, they looked at hundreds of reports from the past of military personnel who happened to be at the right place at the right time to see something anomalous. And they concluded that 97% of all cases can be figured out. It's drones, balloons, airplanes, but a few percent remains. And from a scientific perspective, it's enough to have 1 in a million cases where there is evidence for some extraterrestrial technological object, for this to be a major news event, for this to change the future of humanity. So the US government has a day job, which is national security. And of course, for them, it will be satisfactory to figure out most of the cases. But for me as a scientist, I would like to know if there is any evidence. And of course, relying on past reports is not the right approach because we cannot revisit the past. And it's also anecdotal. So it's much better to look at the sky. The sky is not classified, to use observatories with state-of-the-art instrumentation that we have now and monitor the sky at all times. That's what we are doing with the Galileo project at Harvard University. We have looked over the past few months at hundreds of thousands of objects. We haven't seen anything unusual, anomalous as of yet, but it's a much better approach to put this subject in the context of science. We cannot rely on, amateur observers or on unsubstantiated claims. We have to address it in the scientific way.
You know, it's interesting that you say that it has to be addressed in the scientific way, and you also say that 98% of all the evidence sightings that can be explained. But people who believe in these theories, they say that, listen, there are still 2% of the sightings which still haven't been adequately enough explained. And now the Pentagon coming forth and saying that the US government is not hiding any details whatsoever. Do you think this will actually convince people indeed within the United States and outside of America who believe in stuff such as Area 51? And also they believe that, listen, the aliens could be visiting us, it's just the US government which is not telling us about it.
Well, in science, you cannot make definitive statements. And I actually met with members of that office that released this report. And, they can say statements about maybe 97% of the objects, but not about the remaining few percent. And in this context, a lot of people have opinions. And they want to be absolutely sure that their view is heard and that they are believers in one way or the other. But it's not really the way science is done. Science is based on evidence.
Right.
And, the evidence from the past is incomplete. And therefore, we have to do more work. And in the Galileo project, for example, just 8 months ago, we went to the Pacific Ocean and we looked for materials from the first interstellar meteor to see what it was made of.
Right.
And it's work in progress. All of this is work in progress. So my hope is that the US government in the future will collect more data and make it transparent to the public. I don't know if they have anything that they're hiding. We have no access to the evidence.
I think that's very well put there. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Loeb, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.